So today we are going to discuss. Am I clearly audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now today we are going to discuss the last one which we left yesterday. So as I said, this is the general shape of the PPF. Okay. This is the general shape. That red line is the general shape of the PPF. And in that case, um, I said when we discussed about the farmer and rancher that the downward sloping straight line PPC, this is a special type of PPC. The general shape of the PPC or PPF is like this. Why it is so? I'm not going to discuss why it is so. Okay, first of all, the logically I will not explain here, but just look. Say initially the producer is here. Let me use that pointer. Yes, initially the producer is here. Okay, then after the producer has increased the X production and reduced the Y production. So he is moving from here to here. So the increase in X production is there and decrease in Y production is here. Okay, so we can say the opportunity cost of this much of X is this much of Y. Is it clear? The opportunity cost of this much of X is this much of Y. Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now look. Yes. Yes. Do you want to ask any question?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now look. Say the producer is here. Again, the objective of the producer is same. He is trying to produce more of X and less of Y. So he is moving from here to here. And why? The increase in X is same as before. Okay. This is the increase in X at the first movement and this is the increase in X in the second movement. They are same. Now, what is the amount of Y he has sacrificed for the second movement? Look at the extent of the reduction in Y. And if you compare this Y with this Y, you can understand that fall in Y is significantly high in the second movement than in case of the first movement. So we can say the opportunity cost of X is increasing when he is moving from in this direction. Okay, when he is moving in this direction, the opportunity cost of X is increasing because the sacrifice of Y is increasing. Okay, so that is the reason behind the concave. This is called concave. Okay, this is called the concave shape. Why? Because it is just like a cave. So it is concave with respect to the origin because it's just like a cave. If you just look at the shape, it is a cave. So it's called concave. This is how you can remember the shape. Okay, this is not the way to, this is not the actual reason behind the name, but just to remember, you can use this thumb rule, that it is like a cave, so it's a concave. And what is the reason behind the concave shape of the PPC? The concave shape of the PPC is because of the increasing opportunity cost of X in terms of Y. Okay, so this is called the increase. This is how you can understand the increasing cost. If you are producing, first look, if you are moving from here to here, you are increasing X. But the total amount of X is not so much. But when you are moving from here to here, that means most of your resources you have utilized to produce X. So you have produced a large amount of X. In that case, the opportunity cost of X is increasing. So this is how you can understand the increasing cost concept. Okay. Any question? Okay. So I have finished my first unit here. If you have any query from first unit from anywhere, you are free to ask.
Uh, Ma'am, I have a question from the book.
Okay, I don't have book at that time. Give me 1 minute. I'm continuing with my book. Yes, Yes. I'm back. Tell me your problem.
Ma'am, in the section comparative advantage and trade, there is a part where it is written we can also look at the gains from trade in terms of the price that each party pays the other. Um,
Yes.
Ma'am, that part I didn't
Okay. Look.
understand.
Okay. Good. Understood. What happened? Look, you know the concept of opportunity cost, you know the concept of absolute advantage, comparative advantage, but it is not expected that all individuals in the world know what is all. What are those? They don't know. So, what they are looking, they are actually watching whether the price is lesser or not. Okay, if the price is less, say you are in India, you are trying to purchase a car. For example, this is just an assumption. You are going to purchase a car. So when you are going to the car market, what is the first thing you will check? You will check the price because you have a budget. Huh? So given that budget, you are trying to find out the car. Okay. So what is the car? Say your budget is say 8 lakh. So you are trying to find out the car within the price of 8 lakh. Now you can see with the same feature, there is another car. Say there is a car with a price around 8 lakh, which is produced by some Indian company, say Maruti. It is produced by Maruti. Now you are watching the same features are there in some imported car. There is another car which is actually imported car. That means it is produced by someone else outside of your country with the same features of that Maruti car, but the price is less. So obviously you will purchase it. You don't know about the opportunity cost. You don't know about that. So nothing. You don't know nothing. But you know the price is lesser there. So you are interested to purchase that car. And this is true not only for car, for each and oh, someone is trying to come. Just a minute. Huh? Uh, Someone is waiting. Yes, Deepak. Yes. So now look what happened. So what is the factor you are interested about? You are interested about the price, right? So do you agree with me? We are actually interested about the price.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that is the thing we are going to import or we are not importing. If the price is lesser of the same commodity to the foreign country, then we are interested to purchase it from the foreign country. So actually, we are only concerned about the price. Now the question is why the price is lesser there. That may be the question. Why they are selling at the lower price? There may be several reasons behind that. They are trying to dump it just like China. They are trying to do something else. There may be a lot of reason, but actually the main reason is the opportunity cost of producing of that commodity is lesser there. That is why they can charge lesser price. Now, if the cost is high, you have to charge higher price. If cost is less, you can charge lower price, right? So that is the thing. Actually, we the general people are trading, are exchanging in terms of the price difference. But we in the economics class, we are dealing with the reason behind the price difference. Why there is price difference? So one of the reasons behind the price difference is the lower opportunity cost. Okay, so we know why if there is a less opportunity cost, there will be a trade, but that less opportunity cost is represented in the market through reduced price. Now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, in the next paragraph, it is the case about the farmer and the rancher is given. Here, it is written that the farmer gets 5 ounces of meat in exchange for 15 ounces of potatoes. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, the farmer buys each ounce of meat for a price of 3 ounces of potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is less than his opportunity cost for an ounce of meat,
Mm-hmm.
which is 4 ounce.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Um,
this is
ma'am,
also true. Yes. Okay. Just ask your question fully at first, then I will explain.
Ma'am, this part I didn't understand.
Okay. So
Means
actually, what?
it is less than its opportunity cost.
Yes, yes. Look, what is the opportunity cost? So for that, I have to go here. Yes. So what is the for the farmer? What is the opportunity cost of meat? It is 4 ounces of potato. You are talking about this, now?
4 ounce.
Yes. So 4 ounces of
Yes, ma'am.
this is the opportunity cost of meat in terms of potato for the farmer. Okay. And if there is trade, then what happens? He is he is giving 15 ounces of potato to the rancher, and in exchange of that he is getting 5 ounces of meat. Okay. So what is the
Yes,
opportunity?
ma'am.
So what is the opportunity cost of meat there? 3 ounces. He is giving 15 and he is getting 5. Okay, so 5 is equivalent to 15. That means, is it clear to you?
Yes. Oh, acha, acha.
So for 1 unit of meat, it is
15 by 5.
15 by
Ah,
5, so it becomes 3. So it is actually the barter
3
system. There is
ounce.
no price that in that way. So through barter system, you are looking that, okay, if I'm giving 5, I will get, if I will give 15, I will get 5. So what is the opportunity cost of this 5? 15. So that means per unit, the opportunity cost is 3. But when I'm going to produce it, it will be 4.
3.
It will be 4. Opportunity cost
4.
for me is 4. Look, it's 4. But if I will exchange, it's only 3. So it's better to exchange. Okay, it's better to purchase the meat from
Okay.
the opportunity cost of meat for me is 4. But in the market, the opportunity cost of meat for me is 3. So it's better to go for the exchange.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Okay, so you have to look this table very carefully, then you can understand everything. Any other question?
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, one question from the book
Uh,
itself.
None, ma'am.
Okay, one by one.
Ma'am, in ManQ, there is a question in problems and application part. Ma'am, can you please refer to that page once?
So where
Ma'am,
is that problem and
ma'am,
application
question number
of
2, American and Japanese workers, that question.
American and Japanese from the interdependence and
Yes, ma'am,
exchange?
chapter 3.
Oh, in my book I don't have that America and Japan. I have America and Mexico.
Okay, ma'am, there is a question, ma'am. Actually, a situation is given, and there is a question starting from a position without trade. Give an example in which trade makes each country better off. Ma'am, how do we answer such type of questions?
Can you share your screen? No, you cannot because it is not in your laptop actually. Just ask me the question again.
Ma'am, actually, a situation is given like American and Japanese workers can each produce 4 cars in a year. American worker can produce 10 tons of grain in a year, whereas Japanese worker can produce 5 tons of grain in a year. Then
Okay.
ma'am, they say that to keep things simple, assume that each country has 100 million workers. And ma'am, there are 5 to 6
Okay.
questions given. So those 5 to 6 questions are about absolute advantage, comparative advantage, and all those. And the last question is starting from a position without trade, give an example in which trade makes each country better off.
Oh, I have the same sort of question, but it's American Mexican. Okay. Let me read my question. I think it will be same as before because there are also 6 questions.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
American and Mexican workers can each produce 10 t-shirts per day. An American worker can produce 18 dozen brownies per day, whereas a Mexican worker can produce 10 dozen brownies per day. To keep the thing simple, assume that each country has 1 million workers. Acha?
Yes, ma'am. It's almost the same, just the
Yes,
numericals are
yes.
different.
Yes, then Mexico is replaced by Japan.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Starting from a position of no trade, give an example in which trade no trade, give an example in which trade makes each country better off. Starting from a position of no trade, give an example in which trade makes each country better off. Acha. This is very difficult to give the answer because it's a permutation combination type of thing. You have to trial and error, this or this and that.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, do we need to make a table for this type
Yes,
of question
yes,
like the
yes,
one?
yes.
Okay, so ma'am, we have to see at what quantity does the gains of
Yes,
trade
trial
occur.
and error. Ah, yes, yes. You have to
Okay, ma'am.
make this type of question, this type of
So ma'am,
table.
for this, ma'am, there can be a variety of quantities. Like America
Yes.
can produce this much, Japan can produce this much. So ma'am, there
Yeah.
can be a variety of quantities.
No, just give one.
Just one.
Yes,
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
just
ma'am.
one.
Okay. And ma'am, do we need to explain the table as well?
It depends on the marks. Everything is depending on the marks. There is nothing free in the world, you know. All of you
Yes,
know.
ma'am.
So if marks is more, you have to explain more. If marks is less, then don't go for that much of explanation.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
you
Okay,
have
ma'am.
to show that you understand.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, like the table which you have presented right now, ma'am, that sort of a table would do.
Yes, 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 yes. It
Okay,
will.
ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other question?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
When in the last slide which you presented, there is a graph and why the shape is concave, ma'am. Please repeat once. Can you
Yes,
repeat once?
because the opportunity, yes, I'm telling, the opportunity cost of X production is increasing when the producer is moving from the Y axis towards X axis. Now, actually, I think some of you may not be happy with my answer that it's why it is like this. Why opportunity? You may ask me the question, why opportunity cost is increasing? You should ask me the question. I was thinking ki you will ask the question, but you are not asking. Do you get my point? I said in my class, I said when the producer is moving from that Y intercept to the X intercept, that means the producer is continuously increase its X production in exchange of Y production. The opportunity cost is increasing, and that is why the curve is concave. Here, in case of production possibility frontier, that is the reason. The opportunity cost is increasing. But I was thinking that then after you will ask me why opportunity cost is increasing. But you didn't ask, right? Why the opportunity cost is increasing? Can you try? Do you get my
Ma'am, is
point?
it yes, ma'am? Ma'am, is it because when most of Y is means when the country is producing most of Y and it's moving towards X, ma'am, some laborers are moving towards the production of X who are
Yes,
specialized in production of Y?
yes, that is the reason. That is the reason actually. Look, when you are here, when the producer is here and he is trying to produce a certain increase in X in that way. So what he is doing, actually on the PPC, there is full employment. Yeah? You don't have any resource which is unemployed in the economy. So in that way, when you are moving from here to here, you have to reduce some amount of Y production. Otherwise, you will not get the resources or inputs that you can employ for X production and can increase your X production. So that is why the Y production is falling. But the thing is, when you are moving from here to here, some factors of production, they are leaving the Y production and coming to the X production. Who are leaving? Generally, the resources who are not so skilled to produce Y, they are leaving. Okay. The individuals, it may be the labor, it may be the capital, it may be anything. I am just telling it is the input. The inputs which are not so much skilled to produce Y. So they are not contributing a lot in the Y production. They are leaving Y production in that stage and they are trying to produce X. Okay. But when you are here and trying to move here, look, you have already produced a significant amount of X and then still you are increasing your X production. Again, you have to reduce your Y production, right? Because you don't have any excess resource. Now the question is, who are leaving Y now? The inputs which are actually skilled for the Y production, they are leaving Y. So when they are leaving the Y production is falling significantly because they are actually skilled. Their productivity is very high in favor of Y, and they are leaving. So that is why the Y production is falling significantly. Okay, so that is the reason behind the concavity of the PPC. Now is it clear?
Yes, ma'am, it is clear now.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, ma'am, will you repeat it?
Yes, I'm telling that when the producer is moving from this point to this point, he's trying to produce more of X. How to produce? Because he doesn't have any excess resource. So he has to reduce Y production so that he will get some input and he will employ that input to increase X production. The question is, who are leaving that Y production? The inputs who are not so productive for the Y production, they are leaving at this stage. They are leaving Y production and coming to the X sector and produce X. That is why the reduction in Y is this much. And when you are here, that means you have produced almost 50-50 X and Y. From here, you are trying to move there. So that means you have already produced a lot of X and still you are increasing your X production. Again, you need the same story. Again, you need to reduce your Y production to have the inputs. The question is now, which inputs are leaving the Y production? The inputs who are actually productive for Y production, they are leaving now. Okay. So they are actually contributing a lot for the Y production, and as they are leaving Y production and coming to the X production, Y production is falling significantly because these inputs are contributing a lot for the Y production. So that is why fall in Y is very high in that stage as compared to the initial one. That is what I said. Now is it clear?
Ma'am, initially the inputs were contributing less, and after that,
Look, it is not
it is the
possible
opposite,
for,
ma'am.
yes.
Why?
Look, it is not possible for all the inputs to be equally productive for X and Y. In reality, there are some inputs who are more productive for Y. There are some inputs who have some skill, to produce Y, who have some skill to produce X like that. But as the producer was here, those who doesn't have that much of skill to produce X, they had to be in the Y production. But when they got the chance to leave the Y production, they are very much there to leave it because they don't have that much of skill to produce Y. So they are leaving Y production, so Y production must fall, but not to that extent. And here, those individuals who are actually skilled for Y production are leaving the Y production because this is the decision of the management. Yes. Any question? Is it clear?
No, ma'am, it is clear now.
It is not clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, from seeing the graph, we can understand that the factors are productive at which points.
Yes. Here. There are 4 points actually. Starting point, end point, starting point, end point.
Okay, ma'am.
Mm. Any other question? Okay. Hopefully no question. Now it is your task. To solve the problems of the chapters. Actually, we have covered 2 chapters from ManQ, chapter 1 and chapter 3, and a bit of chapter 2. From my book, I am saying this. So just try to solve all those problems from your exercise, because as it is the textbook, there is a high chance that the questions will come from your textbook. It is not like a copy paste. It may not be the copy paste sort of question, but the type of question may be similar with the question of your textbooks. So it's better to practice the textbook at first, and after finishing that, you will go for 10 years question paper, you will go for some other book. There are a lot of books in the market. You will start solving all those problems. I will finish the demand and supply, and then after I have some books in my home, so I will share that exercise in the assignment section in college CMS. Give me some time. I will make the snapshot of those exercises and then I will upload there. You will get those. Don't worry. If you don't have any other book than the ManQ, don't panic. I will share from my books. But give me some time. I will definitely. For the time being, just try to solve the questions from your ManQ. So may I go to the next unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Actually, I'm ready with my next unit. This is the thing. Now here comes the problem, because there are around 50 or 60% students in the class who know what is demand and what is supply. So we will try to explain those concepts to all of you with the assumption that no one knows what is demand and what is supply. If you have any query at any point of time, you are free to ask. You just stop me and ask. You just stop me, ma'am, I have a question. I will stop and then you will ask. Okay. So demand and supply, actually this is very important chapter in that sense. Apparently it's very simple, but it is very important because it has a lot of importance for the rest of our syllabus. If you know, some economists are saying that if you can understand demand and supply properly, you can understand anything in economics. So in that sense, it is very much important for us. Now, what is demand? Actually, we have discussed about the market. We have discussed about the market. We say there is invisible hand, there is a price mechanism, there are demand and supply. So that demand and supply we are discussing here. As I say, each principle has a separate chapter. So this is the chapter for that principle. So what is market? Market is the place where commodities are exchanged. All of you know. And that is also said that it may be visible, it may be invisible. Okay, visible means the local grocery shop, the local vegetable shops and all this. And the invisible market, the example I say it as the stock market and all, okay, which may not be visible to all of us. So these are the market. Actually, market means a place where commodities are exchanged. Okay. Now, in the market, there is a competition. You will face a competition when if you have any habit to go to the local shop, then also you can find that there is a competition. So actually what happens in case of the how you are facing the competition, how you can understand the flavor of the competition. Sellers are always there. If you are going to the local vegetable market, you can see the sellers are asking, Dada edike ashun, Dada edike ashun, eto dam. They are telling like this. So why they are doing this? Actually, they have a competition among themselves, right? And for that, they are charging almost same price. For the same type of commodity, they are charging same price because they know just beside there is a person who is selling the same type of commodity, and if he will charge a 50% less, then all individuals will go there and purchase. There is no one to purchase from him. So that is why there will be a certain price with respect to the competition from the seller. There is also a competition from the buyers. Look, in your locality, maybe from your household, you may get someone who is interested to go to the market first. Every day, they are interested to go in the market early morning. Why? Because they will get the fresh vegetable, right? So these are there. So they are actually competing, right? They are also competing, and there are some individuals who are waiting to go in the late in the market because they know at the end of the time they can sell their commodities at maybe at the lower price. So there are two types of people. There is a section who are trying to go as early as possible in the market because they will get the fresh one. There is another type of people in the society who are trying to go as late as possible because they can get the commodity at the lowest price, because they are in the hurry to go to their home, the sellers, so they can sell it at the lower price. So look, there is also a competition, right? And because of this competition, if you just go through the price of the commodities in the early morning, relatively the price is higher as compared to the end of the session. So sellers also know this. And who are the early bird in the mornings, early bird in the market? So they will pay anything for the freshness. And there are some people who are always there to bargain with them, with the sellers, and will get the commodity at the lower price. So there are two types of commodities are there actually, and they are charging different prices. But for the first section of the buyers, the price is same, and the second section of the buyer, price may be different but is same. So for a certain price, the buyers are competing who will get the most fresh vegetable. And for a certain price, there are other section of the buyers who are trying to go there and just try to make a bargaining with the sellers. The bargaining may be healthy, maybe unhealthy. I am not going to that part, but they are trying to purchase the commodity at the lower prices. So there is always a competition. Okay. Do you get the competition in the market, the situation of the competition in the market? Do you have any problem with this slide?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So there is a certain price. Given that price, the sellers are competing. Given that price, the buyers are also competing. The objectives are different. Seller's objective is to earn the revenue. Buyer's objective is to get the better quality. That means they are trying to satisfy themselves most. Okay. So these are the things from the buyers and the sellers. So you can understand seller means it is the supply side, and buyers means who are getting the commodity, they are the buyer. So that means they are the consumer, or they are making the demand. Okay. So there is a demand and there is a supply in the market for a certain price, given the price. Now I am coming to the demand. Most of you know what is demand, but I have to tell it because there are some people who don't know that it is the willingness to have the commodity backed by the purchasing power. Okay, so this is the demand. Do you have any problem with this definition? Anyone? The definition of demand, do you have any problem with first two lines? The willingness to have a commodity backed by the purchasing power. So you may want these and that, but you must have money in your pocket. If you have the money and you are interested to have the commodity, then this is called the demand. But if you don't have the money and you are interested to have the commodity, this is not the demand in case of economics. It is just your willingness. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So for example, say I'm sitting in my home and I'm thinking, okay, tomorrow I want to go to, uh, I want to go to Switzerland. Okay. The question is, okay, this is my willingness. I want to go there. The thing is whether I have that much of money in my account or not. If I have the money, then it is my demand. If we don't have the money, then this is just my eagerness to go there, nothing else. This is not my demand. Okay? So demand must be backed by your purchasing power. Now, look, if you don't know economics, very fine. The price, when the price of the commodity is increasing, generally the demand is falling. No. If the price is increasing, we are always trying to reduce our demand of that commodity. We are trying to find out the substitute. We may stop the consumption. We may wait for some time, but generally we are reducing the demand for the time being. So this is the relationship between the demand and the price of that commodity. Okay. So what we can see, that when the price is increasing, the demand is falling. When the price is falling, demand is increasing. So they are going to the opposite direction. If one is increasing, another is falling. If first one is falling, then second one is increasing. As they are going to the opposite direction, this is called inverse relation. Okay. This is called inverse relation. One is increasing, another is falling. So we can say there is an inverse relation between the price and the quantity demanded. Remember that term, quantity demanded for a commodity. Okay. So there is an inverse relation between the price and the quantity demanded. There is no economics. This is just the reality. This is just the reality. We can see it in our daily life. We can watch this movement. Okay. So there is an inverse relation between the price and the quantity demanded for a commodity. Okay. So this is the relation between the demand of a commodity and price of a commodity. Now look at the last bullet. Change in demand due to change in price of the commodity is called change in quantity demanded. That is why I said here, remember that term. It is called change in quantity demanded. Okay. So when the demand of a commodity is changing because of the change in price of that commodity, then that change in demand is called change in quantity demanded. Okay. This is called change in quantity demanded. Any problem from this slide? If you have any problem from anywhere, you are free to ask. No problem. Okay, let me go. Then based on all those bullets, there is a law of demand. What is law of demand? Given all other things constant, there is an inverse relation between price of a commodity and the quantity demanded. Remember, here I am mentioning inverse relation. Huh? Generally, people are saying when price is increasing, demand is falling. This is called law of demand. So my question is, if price is falling, demand is increasing. Isn't it law of demand? It is also, no?
No, ma'am.
It is also, no. Look, what I am
Ma'am,
telling
but we are not stating that it is vice versa and all the other things are constant.
Yes, no, that is true. That is true. But actually, the thing is, generally, people are saying like this. This is a common mistake. I'm not telling you are doing this, but this is a common mistake. That what is law of demand? They are saying, okay, all other things are constant and the price is increasing, demand is falling. This is called law of demand. Then what about the next? If inverse is there, what will be the name of that part? This is also law of demand. So that is why you have to make it a generalized one. Okay. So inverse relation between the price and the quantity demanded of a commodity. And this is a general. Within that term, increase, decrease, everything is there. So that is why it is better to write an inverse relation between the price of a commodity and the quantity demanded is called the law of demand. Okay, and all other things are constant because there are a lot of things which can influence your demand. So I'm just assuming these things are not there. They are as before, they are constant. They are not influencing my demand, only the price is changing. Then how my demand is changing is called the law of demand. Is represented, there is an inverse relationship between these two, which is called law of demand. So this look that the law of demand is very much realistic. It is not difficult to remember. Hmm. Because if you just understand, if you just go through the daily life, if you just look around, then you can easily found a lot of example of the law of demand. Hmm. Now, given that law of demand, this is the demand
Ma'am,
curve. Yes,
ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am,
yes,
in this slide, you have written that given all other things constant, and you said that these things can influence. So, what are those things like which remain constant?
yes. We will explain. But okay, as you are asking now, uh, my income can influence my demand. The price of other goods which are related to that particular commodity, they can also influence my demand, right?
Yes.
Environment can influence my demand because in the summer season we are not demanding winter dress, so my demand is also influenced by the weather, by the environment, expectations. There are a lot of things behind the demand, they can
Ma'am,
influence the
taste and
demand.
preference.
Okay, so that is why I am saying that these are not there. Let it be zero. They are not influencing. Is it
Okay.
clear now?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Ma'am,
Now,
ma'am,
yes, yes.
if we say that there is inverse relation between quantity demanded and price of a commodity, will it make it any difference or would it be the same thing?
That should be the law of demand. What you are saying is the law of demand. And if you are saying if there is an increase in price of the commodity, quantity demanded will fall, then you must write at the same time when there will be a fall in price, the quantity demanded is increasing. That is law of demand.
Okay,
You have to explain both sides.
okay, ma'am.
Otherwise, better to write the relationship that much. Just the relationship, the inverse relation. But everyone can understand. If you are trying to explain it, then you have to go to the positive side and the negative side. Increasing price, decreasing price. Otherwise, stop increasing, decreasing, just tell inverse relation. Okay, but don't tell only the increasing price. If you are telling increasing price, you have to mention decreasing price. Because it is true for the both sides.
Okay, ma'am.
Acha, any other question? No question. Now, given the law of demand, I am just trying to draw, because we, the economic students, are always trying to draw the diagram, because this is our tendency. Always we are trying to apply the mathematics, and always we are trying to represent the situation in terms of diagram. So this is the thing. When you have a law, you found a relationship between two variables. One is price, another is the quantity demanded. Your next interest is to draw the relationship. So here it is. On the horizontal axis, we are measuring. Actually, this is just opposite. It's a controversial thing. Generally, when we are drawing this type of diagram in the two-dimensional space, we are drawing independent variable, that is the explanatory variable on the horizontal axis, and the dependent variable on the vertical axis. That means if x is this, then what is y? If x is this, then what is y? It's like this. So x is my independent variable and y is my dependent variable. But here it is just opposite. Look, here it is just opposite. We are measuring explanatory variable, that is the x variable, which is actually independent variable on the vertical axis, and the dependent variable on the horizontal axis. This is just opposite of the normal diagram. Why? Because there is Walrasian approach, there is Marshallian approach. We will explain. This is based on the Walrasian approach. So we will explain that part, why that apparently controversial diagram is there. It is not the controversial, actually. There is no paradox beside this. Actually, there is Walrasian approach, which is saying that quantity is the dependent variable, and there is Marshallian approach who is saying price is dependent variable. So that is why based on these two, this is a mixture actually, and based on that this diagram is here. So anyway, you have price, and one more thing I explained, I told you earlier, but still I am telling you that when you are going to draw any diagram, you must mention what you are measuring on different axes. So on the horizontal axis, you are measuring Q, on the vertical axis, you are measuring P. Okay, so if P price is P1, then the quantity demanded say Q1. If price is falling from P1 to P2, your quantity demanded must increase, and it will increase according to the law of demand. So because there is an inverse relation, na? So if price is falling, quantity demanded should increase and it will increase to Q2. So if you join P2 and Q2, you will get another point. So in this way, for different price levels, you will get different quantity demanded, and you will get a particular combination point for each of these pair. If you join all those pair, it will be a downward sloping line. Here it is a straight line. It may be a curve. Okay. If it is a curve, I am trying to draw this curve. It will not be very beautiful because I am not habituated with this pen, but it's like this. That may also possible. That may be your demand curve. No issue. That will not create any problem. But for simplicity, we are assuming it a straight line demand curve. So straight line, convex, not a problem in that case. Okay. Any problem with the demand curve?
Ma'am, can we write in the horizontal axis QD, quantity demanded?
Yes, that is allowed. That is
Okay.
very good actually. It depends that which variable is represented, what you are assuming for the quantity demanded, which variable you are assuming for the quantity demanded. If it is Q, then Q. If it is QD, then QD, anything.
Okay, ma'am. And why the demand curve is downward sloping, ma'am?
Because of the inverse relationship. Downward sloping means one variable is increasing, another variable is falling. And this is law of demand.
Okay, ma'am.
Look, there are some commodities where there is no law of demand. This is called the violation of law of demand. Can you give an example? Can you give some examples of the violation of law of demand?
Highly necessity products mean to say medicine. If the price is when the price is higher but the demand is not falling as rapidly, I think so.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Due
goods with no
to
substitute.
The commodity where there is, yes, this is the necessary actually. For medicine, it is actually inferior goods.
Ma'am, highly
No.
luxurious commodities.
Yes. Not
ma'am,
for the,
necessary items during pandemic.
yes, that is what she said, medicine. For medicine, you may not have this downward sloping one.
Ma'am,
But
due to Giffen goods.
Giffen good, yes. Giffen good is the violation of law of demand. Inferior good is not the violation of law of demand. Huh? Remember, Giffen good is a case where the price is increasing and the demand is also increasing. But in case of inferior good is something related with your income level. When your income is increasing, demand is falling. But it is not the violation of law of demand.
Also due to some future expectations when people think that
Yes.
there will be less stock in the future.
Speculative.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Due to the speculation. Anything
Ma'am,
else?
what is the example of given good? I can't understand it.
Giffen good, look, Giffen good, there is actually a single example in the world. This is an example from the Ireland. Huh? In the Ireland, the staple food is a story kind of thing. Huh? In the Ireland, the staple food was potato. Okay. They used to have potato with meat. Okay. Due to sudden reason, there is a fall in, that means there is some devastation and all this. So, price of meat is increasing there. No, sorry. The price of potato is increasing there because of the natural calamity problem and all this. The price of potato is increasing there. So as potato is their staple food, what they did, they have reduced the consumption of meat. So they have some extra money in their hand and they are spending that money for potato only. So what happened in the potato market, the price is increasing, the demand is also increasing as it is the staple food for them. So look, the price is increasing, demand is increasing. It is not going according to the law of demand. So it is the violation of law of demand. Robert Giffen has found this story in Ireland data. So that is why the name of this commodity is called the Giffen good.
Okay, ma'am, understood.
Anything else?
Ma'am, why will be the why the demand was increasing? I think it should be constant.
No, because they have reduced the consumption of meat, na. So that you have to cope up with the consumption of potato. Say you are having milk and bread. You have reduced the consumption
Okay,
of
ma'am.
bread. So in that case, you have to consume more of milk. Otherwise, you are starving. There are some commodities now which are showing your standard of living. For example, a diamond. For example, smart TV is not the status symbol right now. Anything. So for those commodities, the price is showing the status. I have purchased the commodity at higher price. That means I'm a rich person. So I just want to show my status. I just want to show how rich I am. And that is why I am purchasing the commodity at the higher price. So there also we are getting violation of law of demand. This is called Veblen effect. Okay, so these are there. These are there. Anyway, there are a lot of example of the violation of law of demand. But if there is law of demand, this is our demand curve, that yellow line or that red line. This is demand curve actually. Huh? Technically, it is a curve. And this is also a curve with a constant slope. Any other question with the demand curve? With this diagram, the shape, derivation? No. Okay. Look, oh yeah. I did that. This is the curve. Okay. Demand curve may be like this. Now the market demand curve. Market demand curve means in the market there are two individuals in the market for simplicity. Yeah, there are two individuals in the market. So market demand curve is the sum total of the demand of first individual and the second individual, right? So say the first individual's demand curve, there is no such assumption or there is no such law which is saying that all the demand curves should be identical, they should be parallel like this. This is not true. My demand curve is quite different from your demand curve. That may be possible. To say individual one's demand curve, they are downward sloping because they are following law of demand. This is applicable, nothing more. So red one is the demand curve of individual one. And that green, okay, I can say this as a green. So green one is the demand curve of individual 2. Okay, so these two individuals are in the market. So now the question is, what is the market demand curve? Market demand curve is very simple. It is called the horizontal summation of individual demand curve. Horizontal summation means what? Given the price, the price is P1, what is the demand from individual 2? It should be Q2, huh? It's okay, Q1, fine. And what is the demand from individual 1? Q2. So horizontal summation means given the price Q1 plus Q2, that will be the market demand. Okay. Similarly, you may get another price at P2. For P2, there will be a demand for individual 2. There will be another demand for individual 1. You have to just sum these quantities. For P2, that will be the market demand. So if you join all those points, that yellow line will be the market demand curve, which is actually flatter than individual demand curves. But it is quite possible, no? For individual 1, P1 is here, Q1 is here. For individual 2, Q2 may be here. But if you just add all these, the value will be larger than Q1 and Q2. And that is why the line will be flatter. This is how you are getting the market demand curve. So market demand curve is the horizontal summation of individual demand curve. Tell me your problem from this diagram.
Ma'am,
Hmm?
do we assess from such graphs?
What?
What do we assess from such graphs?
Oh, nothing, nothing. Actually, we are market demand curve is needed to analyze the market. Sometimes we need this market demand curve. First of all, the question is how to get the market demand curve. That was the question. The answer is the horizontal summation of individual demand curves. So this is how you are making the horizontal summation. That is what I was trying to explain. And what is the need of the market demand curve? The need is sometimes we need to know what will be in the market demand in market if the demand is increasing, if the demand is falling, if supply is this and that and all this. So that is why we need market demand.
Okay, ma'am, but shouldn't we take the average of the quantities rather than just adding it up?
No. Why average? Because in the market, individual 1 is there, individual 2 is also there. So what is the total demand in the market from these two individuals for that particular price? How to get it? It will not be the average. It will be the sum total of Q1 and Q2.
Okay,
Why
ma'am.
average? Why average? Average is not at all related with the market demand.
Ma'am, when the individuals are like, right now we are taking two individuals, but in market it will be different firms, different companies.
Yes.
So we want the average value, what is happening in the market, rather than just adding the.
No. In case of market demand, if there are 100 individuals, if there are 1,000 individuals, you have to add the quantity demanded for each of those individuals for a given price.
Okay, ma'am.
Average will not work at all. Any other question?
Ma'am, if we are representing a data through this through the diagram, then we will have to draw the linear demand curve or the
No.
demand curve which is convex to the origin.
Yes. You may draw anything. But these two values, the sum total of these two values should be here. That much. It may be a car from here, it may be a car from here, it may be a car from here, no issue.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Any other question? Acha. So let me go to the next one. Shift of the demand curve. Yes.
Ma'am, in the exam, if we are asked to draw this market demand curve, then we have to draw it in this way, like the way you have shown, or just we can draw the second.
No. This is the derivation of market demand curve. But if the question is just to draw the market demand curve, the second diagram is okay.
Okay, ma'am.
I was trying to explain how to get market demand curve.
Ma'am, if the in case of inverse demand curve, scale P and Q should change.
I can't understand.
And if the in case of inverse demand curve, P and Q,
You can ask me in Bengali. If you have any problem, you can ask me in Bengali.
Hello.
Yes, continue. I'm listening.
ম্যাম, ইনভার্স ডিমান্ড কার্ভের ক্ষেত্রে কি পি এর জায়গায় কিউ আর কিউ এর জায়গায় পি, মানে এরকম কিছু চেঞ্জ হবে না? পিটা পি এর জায়গাতেই
না
থাকবে?
না 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 না, এরকম ভাবেই আমরা আঁকি। হ্যাঁ, এরকম ভাবেই আমরা আঁকি। দিস ইজ দ্য মানে দিস ইজ হাউ উই আর ড্রয়িং। তো ইনভার্স ডিমান্ড কার্ভই তো, মানে ডিমান্ড কার্ভ তো ইনভার্স রিলেশনশিপই দেখায়। তো সেটার জন্য তোমাকে কিছু অন্য করতে হবে না। আমরা যখন ওয়ালরাশিয়ান অ্যাপ্রোচ, মার্শালিয়ান অ্যাপ্রোচ পড়বো, তখন তুমি বুঝতে পারবে যে অ্যাকচুয়ালি পি আর কিউ কিন্তু এরকমই থাকবে। ওয়ালরাশিয়ানই হোক আর মার্শালিয়ানই হোক, পি এখানেই থাকবে, কিউ এখানেই থাকবে, শুধু ডিপেন্ডেন্সিটা বদলে যাবে। আমরা এইভাবেই এঁকে থাকি, তো সেজন্য এভাবেই আঁকবো।
ওকে।
আমাদের
Ma'am,
কাছে এটা একটুখানি কন্ট্রোভার্সিয়াল হচ্ছে, কিন্তু যেহেতু মানে দেয়ার আর টু অ্যাপ্রোচেস, তো বেসড অন ওয়ান অ্যাপ্রোচ দিস ইজ ট্রু, বাট when we will explain both the approaches, we still use the same thing, that is P on the vertical and Q on the horizontal. হ্যাঁ,
Ma'am,
yes.
ma'am, in case of inverse demand curve, ma'am, how price will depend on quantity? Ma'am, as we know that quantity always depends on price.
Yes, that is the thing. That is the thing. That is what I was telling. That here price is the explanatory variable and Q is the, that is how we are doing that. If price is, we are telling like this, na, if price is changing, how that quantity demand will change. The law of demand is also like this. Look, between the price of a commodity and the quantity demanded, so price is coming first. So that is what I say. Generally, Q should be here and P should be here, but the economists are drawing this thing like this. This is the only case where the dependent variable is on the horizontal axis. No other diagram is there. And it is actually, apparently it is wrong, but actually it is not wrong, as there is another approach where P is the dependent variable. In that approach, it is said, maybe you are asking this one, that how P is the dependent variable. Actually, in that case, it is said that when quantity demand is changing, then price is changing. If quantity demand is increasing, then price is falling. If quantity demand is falling, then price is increasing. This is that approach.
Ma'am,
that,
can you repeat, ma'am? I can't understand.
yes, I am. Look, generally we are telling that if price is changing, my demand is changing. But there is another approach where it is said that when quantity demand is changing, price is changing. And both sides are true in that sense. If quantity demand is increasing, then price should fall. If quantity demand is falling, then price is increasing. So in that approach, quantity is the explanatory variable and price is the dependent variable. So this approach is also there. So that is why if we are going through that approach, then the diagram is very much okay.
Okay, ma'am.
One approach is called the Walrasian approach, another approach is called the Marshallian approach. We will explain the stability, instability, everything of those approaches. Bolo, any other question?
ma'am, in the exam, if there is a question to draw the demand curve,
You have to draw the
will we
demand
draw
curve like this.
a straight line or a curve?
Anything
A
is
straight line.
accepted. Anything is accepted. Straight line is
Okay, ma'am.
accepted, curve is accepted, but don't draw any demand curve which is concave to origin. If you are interested to draw the curve, then it will be it is convex to origin, not concave to origin. Okay. It will be like this.
Okay, ma'am.
Any other question?
Okay, ma'am.
আর কিছু নেই না? Okay, let me go to that one. Shift of the demand curve. A student was asking what are the reasons behind when we are saying the law of demand that all other things are constant. So what are those things? Now we are coming to those things. Now we are interested about those things. We are making constant price of the commodity. So here we are assuming there is no change in price of the commodity. When we are discussing law of demand, we are assuming that price is changing, how quantity demanded is changing. Here we are assuming price of the commodity is constant. It is not changing. All other factors are changing. Due to the change of all other factors, the demand is changed. Your demand curve has shifted. It is called change in demand. Okay, it is not change in quantity demanded. When it is change in quantity demanded, that means from here to here. That means you are moving along the same demand curve. When it is change in quantity demanded, then you are moving along the same demand curve. Change in quantity demanded is only because of change in price of the commodity. Price is changing, so demand is changing. Okay, so this movement is called the change in quantity demanded. Okay, and when you are shifting your demand curve here or here, this is called change in demand. Okay, this is not change in quantity demanded. If you are moving along the blue demand curve, if you are moving along the green demand curve, if you are moving along this yellow demand curve, this is called change in quantity demanded. But when you are moving from blue demand curve to green or from blue to yellow, this is called change in demand. You have shifted your demand curve. Shifting of the demand curve is called change in demand. Movement along the demand curve is called change in quantity demanded. Okay, so this is the difference. Now here we are concerned about the change in demand. That means why the demand curve is moved from one point to another point. Why we can shift how we can shift our demand curve. Okay, now look, if the demand curve is moving from from blue one to green one, if the demand curve is shifting from 1 to 3, that means from blue 1 to green 1, that means the demand curve is shifting to the right. Okay, it is moving to the right way. This is called increase in demand. Look, given the price, initially your demand was here, now your demand is here. So your demand has increased given the price. So this is called increase in demand. And when you are moving from the blue line to the yellow line, that is from 1 to 2, or the demand curve has shifted to the left, this is called decrease in demand. Again, the same reasoning. Given the price, initially your demand is here and now your demand is here. So your demand is falling. This is called decrease in demand. So any movement to the right of the existing demand is called the increase in demand. And the movement of the demand curve to the left of the existing demand curve is called the decrease in demand. Ask your question. I will explain why it will shift to the left or to the right. But before that, just if you have any problem with that shifting, this is your time to ask. No problem, na? Achha. Look, this is the last thing. Actually, I am trying to, another slide I will explain, and that much for today. Now look, if there will be an increase in my income. Now, okay. Before that, what are the factors behind the change in demand? Look, if my income is changing, my demand will change, right? For example, my income has increased. Then given the price, I can demand more. So in that case, my demand curve can shift from 1 to 3, right? So this is called increase in demand. If there is a fall in income, then my demand curve may shift from 1 to 2. This is called decrease in demand. Okay, this is first factor. What is the second factor? price of related commodity. Related means, look, price of book and price of shoes, they are not related, na? What do you think? Are they related?
No,
Book
ma'am.
and shoe, they are not related. If textbook,
No,
okay, more specific textbook, they are not related. But price of shoes and price of socks, they are related, na? The demand for shoes and demand for
Yes,
socks,
ma'am.
they are related. So what will happen? Say the price of socks has increased. So the demand for socks will fall because of the law of demand. So demand for shoes will also fall because generally when you are using that formal kind of shoes, you have to wear the socks. Okay. So they are related. How? Look, there is no change in the market of shoes. The starting point is the price of socks, and that has increased. As price of socks is increased, the demand for shoes is falling. And if it is, then your demand curve will shift from 1 to 2. Okay, that was the initial demand for shoe, and 2 is the current demand for shoe. It is falling. Why falling? Because price of socks has increased. Okay, this is there are a lot of examples who are related in that sense. You know some of them: tea and coffee, sugar and tea, pen and pencil. Can you give any interesting example of two commodities who are related somehow?
Gasoline and card.
Gasoline and
Card.
car. Okay, gasoline and car. Okay, fine. They are actually complementary in that sense. If you want to drive your car, you need gasoline.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you are using one commodity, you have to use another commodity. You have to use the combination of these two commodities. They are called complementary goods.
Yes.
Anything else? Any example of substitute goods?
Tea and coffee.
Yes, tea and coffee. If price of tea is increasing, demand for coffee is also increasing because the tea and coffee are generally substitute. Look, it varies. Huh? If I'm very much interested about tea, so I will not substitute tea by coffee. But in general, they are
Butter and jam.
butter and jam. They are complementary. And
Is it complementary or
oh, butter.
substituting?
Okay, sorry. I was thinking about butter and bread. No, they are substitute. They are substitute.
Yes, sir.
Pizza and burger.
Okay, they are substitute.
Books and e-books.
Books and e-books. Okay, this is something new. They are substitute. Actually, every year I was telling about the tea and coffee and all and this. So I just want to know some interesting relationship from your side so that I can use it in the next year. Okay, then book and e-book. I will try to remember. No other. Okay, fine. Now look at the next one, test. So I'm using a commodity for several years and suddenly my test has changed and I was thinking that okay, from tomorrow I will not use that commodity, I will use something else. So in that case, my demand will fall and it is a movement from 1 to 2. Okay. What about the environment? Environment, I said, in the summer session, we never demand sweater. We never demand jacket. So again, in the summer session, my demand will fall for the jacket and it will the movement from 1 to 2. Okay. Expectation, how the expectation is working. Today, I am thinking that, okay, I have some share of which company? Okay, I have some share of ITC and I am expecting that tomorrow the price of the share will increase. So what I will do? Today, I will purchase more of ITC share. Right? So that when tomorrow the price will increase, I can sell it out and will get a significant profit. Do you get my point? If I am the share broker, then I can do it. I am expecting that tomorrow the price of ITC share will increase. Okay. So what I will do today? I will purchase a lot of ITC share today so that in tomorrow, when the price will increase, I can sell it out and will get a significant income. So today, based on my expectation, the expectation may not be true, but based on my expectation, I have purchased a significant number of ITC share. So today my demand for ITC share has increased. So my demand curve for ITC share has moved from 1 to 3. This is increase in demand. Is that okay to you? ITC is a company.
Yes, ma'am, it is clear.
ITC is a company who is selling Devil soap, who is ITC tea is also there, ITC cigarette is there. So they are selling actually a lot of consumable goods. So this is an example based on my expectation. Number of buyers. This is also true. If number of buyers in the market has increased, then you know that market demand curve is just the horizontal summation of the individual demand curve. So when the number of buyers in the individual has increased, the market demand curve will shift and it will shift from 1 to 3. If the individual from the market, the individuals are leaving the market, then the demand curve, market demand curve will shift from 1 to 3, 1 to 2, sorry, 1 to 2. So anything can possible. Uh, any other reasons behind the change in demand? These are actually in ManQ. I have just copied it from ManQ. Do you have any idea that any other things which can change the demand? Actually, there are a lot. If you have any other, you can share with us. Other than all this.
Ma'am, demonstration effect.
Demonstration, yes, that will also influence. Demonstration, that means I may be very much influenced by the advertisement.
Ma'am, quality of a commodity.
Yes, it is my expectation. The quality, I am thinking that quality is very good, but it may not be very good. So it is my expectation.
Ma'am, because of reduction in supply
Because
due
of?
to some natural due to decrease of supply because of any natural
No. That is something
calamity.
related with the supply side. We will discuss it in the supply section. Huh? But supply is not influencing my demand in that way. Supply is influencing the market. By changing the price, my demand will be influenced. If supply is falling,
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, change in
look, if there is a fall in supply, then there will be excess demand. And if there is excess demand, the market mechanism will increase the price. And that increase in price will reduce my demand. This is how the supply is influencing. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
ma'am, change in
And
technology.
will you give me 1 minute? Huh? Because I have some question. I have to call someone. Just a minute. Huh? Just a minute. Give me 1 minute. Just 1 minute. আচ্ছা তোমার জি কম্বিনেশন কি ছিল? হ্যাঁ, শুধু ম্যাথস। আরেকটা? তুমি কি একটাই সেম 4 এ একটাই জি দিয়েছো? আচ্ছা, আর জনের কি ছিল? এক্ষুনি ফোন করে বলো। হ্যাঁ, এসজি ম্যাম ওখানে বসে আছেন, তোমাদের মার্কস আজকে লেখা হচ্ছে। তোমারটা তাহলে আমি ম্যাথস বলে দিচ্ছি, আর জনেরটা জেনে আমাকে জানাও। ঠিক আছে, তাহলে তোমার ম্যাথস আর জনেরটা জেনে আমাকে তাহলে জানাও, আমি এসজি ম্যামকে জানিয়ে দিচ্ছি। সাপ্লিও দিয়েছিল? ও, সেম টু সাপ্লি দিয়েছিল, আবার এখানে নর্মাল জিটাও দিয়েছিল তাহলে। হ্যাঁ, ওর ওর স্ট্যাটাসটা একটু জিজ্ঞাসা করে আমায় জানাও। হ্যাঁ, সুদেশনা দি, অনামিত্র বললো ওর জি তে G4 মানে সেম 4 জি ছিল ম্যাথ। আচ্ছা, জনের হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা, জনেরটা জানতে বললাম, জনেরটাও জানে না, জেনে জানাচ্ছে। 1 নম্বর। 2 নম্বর হচ্ছে জন কিন্তু সেম 2রও একটা সাপ্লি দিয়েছে ম্যাক্রোতে। হ্যাঁ, মানে জন কিন্তু সেম 2তেও দিয়েছে, সেম 4এও পরীক্ষা দিয়েছে, সেম 4 পুরো দিয়েছে, জিটাও জেনে জানাচ্ছে। আর জি ম্যাক্রো একটাও দিয়েছে, সেটা ও স্ট্যাটাসটা জেনে আমায় জানাচ্ছে। হুম হুম। হ্যালো হ্যালো। আচ্ছা, মানে সেম 4-এ জি ছিল কম্পিউটার সায়েন্স, তাই তো? আচ্ছা, আর ওদিকে এটা ও কি G2 যেটা কমপ্লিমেন্ট তোমার সেম 2-তে যেটা ও পরীক্ষা দিয়েছে সাপ্লি, সেটাও পাশ করেছে? ম্যাক্রো, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ। সেই রেজাল্টটা কি ও পেয়েছে? সেটাও পেয়েছে? আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। জনের কম্পিউটার সায়েন্স। হ্যাঁ, সেমিস্টার 2 ওর রেজাল্ট পেয়ে গেছে। না না, ওখানে কিছু নেই। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, দুজনেরই পুরো পুরো সেমিস্টার 4। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ। বাহ। If you are calling a person, first of all, you have to listen for 1 minute advertisement of Covaxin. It is something irritating. Uh, so this, okay, you are telling about the other reasons behind the change in demand. Anything else?
Ma'am, social customs and
Yes, yes,
festivals.
yes, yes. This is true. This is true. We are demanding a lot of candles in the Diwali.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Also, tax rates would be
Yes.
taxation,
Yes,
tax
no, no, no,
structure.
no, no, no. If tax is imposed, it is just like increase in price.
Yes, ma'am.
Tax is not something other factors. It is included in the price. So it is, to me, it is increase in price. So accordingly, my demand will change. It is a change in quantity demanded. It is not change in demand.
Ma'am,
Okay.
won't festivals come under environment?
Environment is here. Do you have any problem with this?
No, I'm asking that are festivals and environment different?
Yes.
Like you have just said, like
Yes,
in
yes,
festive
yes.
season.
No, no. Actually, look, you are thinking they are related. Yes, to some extent they are related, but not always. Because on each Thursday, if you're just going to the normal people, on each Thursday, they are not in Thursday. Actually, on Wednesday evening, there is a lot of demand for flowers because people are making some rituals on Thursday in general. So this is how, this is not related with the environment. This is related with my religion, my social custom and all this. In each Sunday as well, in the church, in front of church, there is a lot of demand for candles. So that may also possible. It's depend on my custom. So custom is also, yes.
Ma'am, what about extreme conditions like pandemic?
Oh, pandemic is something exceptional, huh? Exceptional. We are not discussing about the exceptional situation. In case of pandemic, whatever the situation, you have to be happy with within your home. Huh? Whatever you are having, you must be happy with that. So this is something exceptional. It is not the normal day-to-day life. What happened? Is there anything? Okay, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
Okay, fine. So, okay, fine. So this is about the demand. Huh? From the next class, we will start the supply.
I'm sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Shayak wanted to ask, like, what about political intolerance?
Political?
Intolerance.
Oh, that is also influencing our demand, obviously. But again, this is something abnormal, because in our everyday life we are not facing political intolerance in that sense. But if it is, definitely it will reduce our demand. If there is a 144 or like this in our locality, then it will definitely reduce my demand because the options has been reduced. There is no option to go outside. There is no option to go to the shopping mall. There is no option to ask the Amazon to give me the commodity. So definitely my demand as a whole will fall. So these are something uncertainty.
Ma'am, ma'am, change in climates and season it comes under the environment point, no?
Yes. We are not demanding umbrella in winter.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, if we are considering our budget in this whole scenario, then everything is related. Like you have said previously that shoes and textbook are not related apparently, but if we have to buy some costly textbooks, so we have to compensate on our shoes as to stay in our budget. So for these things, every commodity is related and everything depends on other things and the demand change as that such. So how can you describe this thing, ma'am?
Okay. Your point is correct. If but this is also something very exceptional. If you are going to purchase a manicure, you are not concerned about the price of your shoes. But if you are going to purchase any book, a textbook, definitely a textbook whose price is around 30,000 or more, then definitely. So after a certain level, they are related. But in the normal life, they are not related. The books of the doctors, the price is very high. So for in general, it is very high. So for them, that may be related. This how many doctors are there in our society? Very less. So in general, they are not related.
Okay, ma'am.
Look, if the wage is increasing, we are interested to work more, na? But again, there is an exception. If wage is very high and again it is increasing, we will reduce our working hour. So this is something exceptional. And that high level of wage, that varies. It may be It may be 50,000 for me, it may be 80,000 for you. So it varies. So this is something exceptional. But in general, when the wage rate is increasing, people are interested to work harder. So this is how we are explaining all those reasons. Exceptions is also there, always there.
Ma'am, if the wage is exceptionally high, why people will
People want to enjoy their life because they are very happy with their salary, so they are very reluctant in that sense, and they are thinking, okay, now I was working for 10 hours a day, now I have to work for 6 hours per day, and the rest of the time I will enjoy.
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, will you repeat the environment part again?
Environment, I am telling that depending on the environmental situation, my demand is changing. For example, as I said, we are not demanding any winter jacket in summer session in general. If there is a high rebate, then this is something different. But in general, we are not asking the jacket in summer session. We are not asking sweater in summer session. So my demand is falling in summer session. This is falling demand.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other question?
Ma'am, does environment consist of all dimensions like social, legal, political, or is it only about weather and
Actually, no. You can include all those. You may not include all those. It depends. If you want to increase the number of points, you may just disaggregate your environment in terms of political and this and that. Otherwise, you can just club all those under the umbrella of environment.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a question from 10 Principle of Economics. Can I ask you now?
Yes.
Ma'am, in the problems and application part of this chapter, I found a question that you are trying to decide whether to take a vacation. Most of the costs of the vacation are measured in dollars, but the benefit of the vacation is psychological. How can you compare the benefits of the cost? Benefits to the costs?
No, actually, in that case, you have to convert. You cannot compare kg, a kilogram, with liter. Or rather, you cannot compare kilogram with centimeter. Right?
Yes,
Your
you're right.
base must be same. So either you have to convert your monetary expenditure in terms of dissatisfaction because you are spending some money, so you are maybe very what can I say? This is expenditure, na? So your utility is falling from that sense. So you have to compare, you have to convert both of them either in terms of your satisfaction level, that how much satisfaction you have sacrificed in terms of expenditure and how much satisfaction you are getting after traveling. Then you can compare. Otherwise, you have to convert your satisfaction level in terms of money. That okay, I am getting this much of satisfaction. That equivalent satisfaction I will get if my income will be this. Then everything is in terms of money, then you can compare. First of all, you have to fix the base. Base should be same for both sides. Otherwise, you cannot compare.
Okay, but what is the which is the best to compare? In which side we should convert it?
No, that depends on you. You can convert it in terms of money. You can convert it in terms of utility. Everything is allowed. But you have to convert either of these sides.
Okay, so by starting comparing, we should convert it in
Your
any
base
one.
should be same.
Okay, ma'am.
For example, you have two books and you have 100 rupees. You are asking which one is good. There is no answer. First of all, either you have to convert these rupees in terms of book, then how many books you get with that your money, or you have to convert, you have to know what is the price of those books. Then everything is in terms of money, then compare.
Yes, ma'am, understood. But how can we write the answer? It's my question,
This is
ma'am.
how what I am telling you. This is the way you
Okay,
have to write.
okay, 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 okay. Thank you.
Anything?
Ma'am, for the demand and supply portion, do we have to refer any other book other than Manque or just Manque will do?
No, no, no. Any book. First read Manque, then go for any book. There are a lot of books. Varian, Ferguson Gold. Um,
Ma'am, do we require it because time is very limited? That is
yes.
why I was asking.
No, no, no. Actually, look. For practice, I should say you always need. But before going to the second book, first read your textbook carefully. That much I can say. Read your
Oh,
textbook
okay.
carefully.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, do we take the qualitative aspects rather than and the quantitative aspects at the same time?
Of
In your
what?
example of, ma'am, in your example for books and money, what do we want?
Yes, yes, this is how you can also compare that what is the satisfaction I am getting from two books and what is the satisfaction I am getting from 100 rupees. Which one is more? This is how you can compare. What is the price of two books? Then everything is in terms of money. You can compare. With 100 rupees, how much book I can get? So this is the number of book. Again, you can compare. So there are different ways for the comparison. But first of all, you have to make everything in terms of the same unit. Then only it is possible.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to just a minute. Huh?